Welcome to another episode of Chally and the Boys. I am your host, Stephen Chalcombe, partying up in the balloons. Sorry. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chalahombre, and you can follow the show at ChallyATB on the Twitterverse. And with me tonight is Wild William, and tonight we're going to be discussing some over and under predictions for player stats. Will, are you ready?
Let's get into it.
Okay. To start off, though, I did kind of stumble upon this stat as I was doing some research for this episode. So I'm going to
Okay.
shoot it to you first before we go over any of the over and unders. Do you know what was the most amount of receptions Ezekiel Elliott has had in his NFL career in a single season? Or,
Exactly.
what do you
The
roughly think it
number?
was? Yeah.
49.
Jesus. And if you had to put it to a year, what would you put it to?
Oh, 2017.
Wrong. 2018, and it was 77.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Couldn't believe it when
Or-
I saw that.
Originally, I was going to say in the 50s, but then I was like, nah, I don't know. That kind of sounds. I was trying to do the math in my head. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
five a game.
yeah, man.
But yeah.
When I saw the 77, I thought it was wrong. Like I refreshed the page. I had to, go to a different year and then come back to it to make sure I was looking at the right fucking thing. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, so 77 receptions in 2018, and they actually had an over 80% catch rate. So fun fact of the day,
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. Right on. Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll move into the over and under action, and let's start off with a little CD Lamb.
Okay.
This one might be a trick question. I'm going to give you the answer. I'm going to give you the actual answer afterwards. But let's set his touchdowns at 7.5 for this upcoming year. Do you think he'll be over or under 7.5 receiving touchdowns next year?
I like that you said receiving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll say over.
Okay. I will actually take the over too. Do you think it's like significantly over? Or...
Uh, you know what? I think if Dallas is going to be any good, and I think they are going to be pretty good, I think he's got to get. I think he gets 10.
Okay.
That's a pretty solid number for a number one wide receiver. So
Sure.
let's get that 10.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely like that. I think it's probably just going to be the 8 or 9. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not saying 10's impossible, but so historically, because Dak Prescott's been in the NFL so long, historically, Dak Prescott's
He's getting up
never
there.
he's never actually thrown more than 8 touchdowns to a single receiver over the span of a single year.
Yeah, that sounds right
So
because I guess when
he's
he got in
had
the
eight
league,
like every year.
Dez was on kind of his downturn as when Dak got into the league, I guess.
Hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and even in 2019, yeah, 2019 or whenever they traded for Cooper, was that 18 or 19?
It's
Whatever.
22.
Either way,
Yeah.
when Cooper was the sole, wide receiver one, I mean, he only even had 8 touchdowns. So um, we'll see.
Yeah.
And we'll stay on CD, and I said an over under of 90 receptions. Now keep in mind he did have 78, I believe, last year, and he wasn't, you know, quote unquote the number one wide receiver. Statistically, he was. I think some could argue, maybe he wasn't getting wide receiver one targets. Um, but I think naturally his numbers have to bump up, like you kind of said before, if Dallas is going to play well. Um, so I put it at 90 receptions. What would you take there?
Are we also going to be doing yards?
I don't have yards, but I mean, if you want to throw that in there, I mean,
Okay.
we could definitely do it.
So I don't know exactly what the yards per catch, and I don't have it off the top of my head or whatever. But my guess is I'd be okay with it. I'm gonna say under, and I'm gonna say it's just under. I'm gonna say like it's in the mid to high 80s. I'll take the under, but I think that he's going to have more, you know, 15 to 20 yard catches than he has in the past.
Okay.
Instead of having the 8, 10, 12 yard catches for first downs, they're going to need to get him the ball down the field. I think take advantage of him down the field.
Sure.
So catches will be down a little bit, yards will be up, and touchdowns will be up.
Okay. Yeah, I would actually take the under two. Um, and uh, I guess as we spoke about pre-show, I didn't give you any of the over-unders we'd be going over, so I was fortunate enough to know what we would be going over, and I could go into a little more detail, I guess.
Yeah,
So what I found here actually with CD, and not something I realized, he's actually got a pretty poor catch rate. So his rookie year it was 66%, and then last year it was 65 and some change. So for him to even hit the 90 reception mark, assuming his catch rate stays the same, he needs to get 137 targets. Um, Amari Cooper saw 130 1 year, and I think he pulled in over 90 receptions, but his catch rate was obviously not obviously, but a little
yeah.
higher.
I think CD just needs to catch the ball too.
Yeah, I mean he
I don't know if he led the league, but he was really high in the league in drops, right?
right, yeah, it was definitely high in drops. I don't know if he led the league, but it was enough to you know it
Noticeable.
needs yeah noticeable. It needs to that
Yeah.
number needs to come down. So yeah, I'll take the under just because I think his catch rate's going to hinder him unless he makes significant improvements. I also don't anticipate him getting 137 targets.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot of volume for a singular receiver. It's not unheard of. It's not necessarily rare. I just think in an offense where Dak likes to spread it around, it's going to be hard to do.
He just likes to. I mean, he likes to throw the balls to the open receiver. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep it in the catches or the catching category, receiving category, I guess, if you will. Dalton Schultz, do you think he will be
Ooh.
over or under 78 receptions? And that was his last year's total. One behind CD Lamb.
Uh, I don't like this answer, but I would say his number is going to go up.
You think
And
so?
yeah, and the reason why, and I know people will be like, oh well, with Cooper gone, more people will pay attention to Schultz, but I just don't think that's true. I think that when you're catching the 8, 10 yard pass underneath, I don't think teams care about that. I don't think they're going to choose to take him away. So
Yeah.
somebody still has to catch the pass, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would not disagree with the logic, I
Like,
guess. I would disagree with the answer. So I will take the under here.
okay.
And I think that's in hopes that we're going to see Pollard catch a couple more balls. I think that's in hopes that Jalen Tolbert is going to. I don't think Tolbert's going to be getting, uh, you know, targets and receptions like CD was last year. But I'm hoping. I guess I'm hoping the relationship, whatever you want to call it, between Dak and Tolbert is going to be better than Dak and Schultz. Um, because if that's the case, then that means we're getting 15-yard gains instead of the 8-yard gains, or at least hopefully.
I mean, how many passes? This is just how many passes do you think Tolbert's actually going to catch?
Um,
Probably low
you mean how many?
40s.
Uh,
I mean, because I just looked it up. Gallup caught
so,
33 as a rookie.
hmm, I guess I couldn't put a number to it. So he's a totally different. Well, totally different
Oh
accurate,
yeah,
but
no,
he's a totally different receiver than
yeah,
Michael
yeah,
Gallup.
yeah.
Um, I think it'll be more than Gallup's rookie year. So if we're saying you said how many for Gallup his rookie year?
I don't know, like he had 33.
Yeah, I guess 45 is probably reasonable. Of course, barring injury. With
Yeah,
Gallup coming back, whether he misses a couple weeks or not, that'll of course eat into it. Um, but I mean, shit, if Gallup misses a couple weeks, I'm not saying I want that to happen. I think we could see Tolbert get a lot of volume those first couple weeks. I mean, people are going to probably double up on CeeDee Lamb, and if they don't, they're going to find out that they need to start doubling up on CeeDee Lamb, and uh, so I would take I would take the over for
okay, yeah,
45 on Tolbert. That's probably wishful thinking, though. That might not necessarily be a bet I would take, but
for sure.
I could say that. Um, okay. Here's a pretty good one, I think. So, total yards for Tony Pollard. Um, I obviously came up with these lines, so anybody who potentially watches this, bear with us here. But so I set it at 1,600.
Okay.
Tony Pollard had, again, total yards, so this is rushing, receiving, kick returns, punt returns, whatever you name it. He had 1,545 last year.
Ooh.
So I just think with the loss of Cooper, um, it is a contract year for him. Uh, you know, probably I think what will be diminishing returns for Schultz. I think Pollard just sees more touches. So I set the line at 1,600. The line itself might be a little rich, um, but that's why I'm not a bookie, I guess.
What'd you choose?
I so I'd actually originally took the over, but now that I'm talking about it out loud, I think I would take the under. I think it would be extremely close though. So his total yardage last year was pretty high. It was extremely efficient, but he did have a 100-yard kick return.
He's a that might be the best part of his game, might be kick returning. And that's crazy to sound because he really is statistically on the analytics side, he was one of the best running backs in the NFL last year.
Yeah, he was extremely efficient.
I,
Um,
I would take the over on that.
yeah, I think I'll stick with the over too. As long as he continues to stay efficient.
Yeah, and there's
His
no reason not to.
Yeah, and his volume will increase this year, right? Because even if Dallas isn't going to re-sign Tony Pollard, which is a different discussion, let's assume they don't plan on re-signing him. They're definitely going to try and get this dude's numbers as high as they possibly can in an attempt to get some sort of fucking
A better comp pick.
comp
Yeah,
hit for him, right? So
yeah,
they're
yeah.
going to probably try to feed him the ball. Who knows though? Not me. Um, here's a cheese ball one. Micah Parsons sacks. Uh, 10.5.
I'll say over.
Okay.
I find it hard to. I know this is really unheard of. I mean, there's really only a few people that have done this in their career, but I just don't see any reason why he doesn't get 10 sacks every season. Just like for his
Yeah,
for his career. I know people like. I mean, I know it's like not a common thing, but that's what the best pass rushers should be able to get. Like kind of just walking into the game.
sure. Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm taking the over too. I don't know how much over. I don't really see 14 happening again. If it did happen, I would not necessarily be surprised. But I think it's just safe to say offenses are definitely going to be scheming for Micah Parsons more. Not scheming for him, but definitely more mindful of him.
oh yeah, they're
He had,
way more aware. Yeah.
they're going. The chances of this is going to get crazy. I think the chances of Demarcus Lawrence having 14 sacks is probably greater than Micah Parsons because, you know, Demarcus Lawrence just hasn't put up those kind of numbers in years. The offenses aren't going to be scheming for Demarcus Lawrence. They're going to be trying or they're going to be doing whatever they can to stop Micah Parsons, not
So
Demarcus Lawrence.
I agree with you. I think there's a lot more likelihood that Lawrence gets. 14 is like a real lot for Lawrence.
Oh yeah,
I would say he's probably around the 10 too. My guess is they're both over 10. I just don't know if I agree. Excuse me. I know Parsons was a rookie last year, and he kind of burst onto the scene. But like after the third or fourth or fifth game, offensive coordinators knew who he was,
hmm
and they were throwing everything at him then. You know what I mean? I don't
yeah.
think they're going to have
His
anything new, and
oh
Dallas is
sure,
going to do new shit with him. You know what I mean? It's
hopefully.
gonna be. It'll be. Oh, they will. They will. I mean, you know.
Okay, so we're both taking you over there. Um, Trayvon Diggs interceptions,
Yeah.
5.
Oh, I knew you were gonna set it low.
I mean that's reasonable. I
Yeah.
mean
No. No. I know.
that's
I know.
5 is still a
It's
really
a
good
really good
season.
year. I. I'm going to take the over on this, and I think we talked about this in the past too. Is I mean, I think everybody would be shocked if he had like 10 plus again,
hmm
but he's just he's just going to get a lot. That's just how the league is now. He's going to get a million chances still. You know what I mean? So I think you run in a guy with his ability. I'm not saying he's the best corner in the league. That's a whole different story. But a guy with his ball skill ability. I mean, he was a wide receiver when he went to college. He can catch the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think with just that, I think he can get over 5 just with that alone.
Okay.
Not sure if that's good or not though. You know?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna take the under.
Okay.
I don't
That
necessarily
kind of
have
surprises me.
I don't necessarily have rhyme or reason. I just man, he had such an explosive season last year. It's just I mean, even if he had five, it would be considered it within reason, right? If he had an average season and had five interceptions, it would be considered like fucking phenomenal, right? Because I mean, how many number one corners even had five interceptions last year?
I'm literally looking that up right now.
I would bet it was less than 10.
Yeah, the number 4 wide receiver. Yeah, I mean, 4
Corner,
wide receivers had 5 plus.
corner,
Oh yeah, corners. Yeah, yeah.
drunk. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, for him to have five, which is, it's possible. I don't think it's impossible. I just, man, to have two back-to-back stellar seasons, and it's crazy. We've gone from what 11 interceptions being, uh, you know, hasn't
That's a
been
freak.
heard of in
That's a freak
decades
show.
to
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
yeah, if he has five interceptions, it's amazing.
yeah.
I don't know. I'll just take the under, I guess, just for the fucking sake of it. Do 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 do. Leighton Vander Esch.
Okay.
Combined tackles, 80.
Ooh. What did he have last year?
It was 77. Don't quote me to that. It was give or take 77.
Yeah, yeah. Man. I'm gonna take the under because
Oh.
I just assume he won't stay healthy.
Okay. Um,
But if you gave me the option you told me right now he would be healthy, my guess is he's gonna play the most snaps out of any of the linebackers at linebacker. If he's healthy.
sure. Yeah.
So I then I would have to say over.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm gonna take the under two, and that's going against what I actually feel right now. So I'm gonna go with the under because I said in our previous show, Leighton Vander Esch is potentially going to be cut, right? Like if any of these linebackers look halfway decent during the
Yeah.
preseason and blah blah blah, and they need to make space, he'll be cut. If he's not cut, and he stays healthy, like you said, I think there's actually a really good chance that LVE has kind of like a career resurgence this year, just because he's not going to be expected to do the things he's been expected to do in previous years, which is be the lead linebacker essentially. He's no longer that dude with Micah Parsons in town. So
Sure.
as long as he's not being asked to be the lead linebacker, which involves shedding blocks and doing things Micah Parsons can do, I think he can actually have an extremely good year. And in that sense, I would take the over. I just don't actually envision that happening, unfortunately, as much as I actually like LV as a player.
Yeah. Same page.
Dak Prescott, total touchdowns, so receiving and rushing, 34.
What do you have last year?
37.
I
No,
can't.
38. He had,
38.
yeah.
I'm gonna say down or under. I would say he has a few less throwing touchdowns, but he's gonna have a few more running touchdowns.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but you said 30. Oh, 34. Yeah. You know what? I'm switching my mind. I'm gonna say over.
Okay. Um,
Over. Yeah.
I'm actually going to take the over too. So it's probably easily forgotten, but he only played 16 games last year. Not to say that that one extra game would have been a significant amount of touchdowns, but
That's a couple touchdowns for sure.
um, I do also think. I mean, we've even heard rumors out of Dallas's camp that they're hoping to get Dak to run the ball more, uh, called runs that is. Uh, and I don't see why Dak can't easily, maybe not easily, but pretty much easily throw another 30, right? Like
Yeah,
it's not
I
so
think
far
that's
fetched that Dak's throwing 30 touchdowns. And then even to stretch that to 33 or 34 plus 4 or 5 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, I'll take the over too. Um, I think 40 is. not a like I don't think 40 is the goal, but I don't think that would be like, hey, if somebody came up to me tomorrow like, hey man, bet you $100 Dak Prescott can't fucking have 40 total touchdowns. I mean, if I had $100, I'd probably take that bet, but um, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility for Dak. That
Yeah,
would
I
also
mean, I'm gonna be honest. I agree with you.
that would also kind of mean though, like we're talking about Dak being an MVP type of candidate. Granted, he kind of was last year for the first 5 6 weeks, and whatever happened happened. But um, and even the year before that, before he fucking
Before
shattered
he
his
got
leg.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the last one I've got is Ezekiel Elliott at 4.2 yards per attempt on carries, which is what he had last year.
Uh, Man, that's the heat right there. I can't take push, right? Like I can't say 4.2 again.
I mean, if you want to be a fucking cheater, you could.
Yeah, I'll say under.
Okay.
A-
Damn.
And that's with me thinking. I think he's good. I think Zeke was gonna have a monster year last year. And I think it was the first time he got hurt, and I think that hurt him. Obviously, he got
Hmm.
hurt because he got hurt. But I'll still take. I'll say he's just gonna get 4.1, and so then I'll be still right.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna take the under two. Uh, I don't have his age right in front of me. What is he like? 27, 26?
Yeah, he's been in the league six
I
years. Yeah,
mean, we saw Zeke's season last year. He started off really strong.
yeah,
Uh, I want to say I saw a stat somewhere like weeks 1 through 6 or 1 through 7. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry, and then of course
yeah.
he supposedly got hurt, and that average came down over the course of the season. Blah blah blah. Another age on that body. We're not really sure what this offensive line looks like. We hope it's improved with the drafting of
It's
Tyler
improved.
Smith and
It's
blah blah
improved.
blah. But I mean, we can only hope that. Uh, I'm just gonna take the under. Age, injuries, questions at the offensive line, which could be answered week one, sure, but um, until then,
Yeah, we're making the decisions now. Yeah, we can't wait till week one.
yeah, taking the under. I that is all I've got for over unders there, young man. Um, you
Let
got
me
anything
ask
for?
one.
Sure.
Yeah, of all of the over unders you asked, which one are you most which one are you most certain you'll be right on?
Huh.
Like what
Um,
was the safest maybe, or even that you knew, like you said, if you had $100 to bet, which one would you bet $100 on, and you were pretty sure you were going to get your money back on?
I would place that $100 on CeeDee Lamb on the over on touchdowns at 7.5, and then
Okay.
if I had another $100, I would put that he would get 8 and no more. And that's
Interesting.
a,
Okay.
that's again with the note
The
that Dak
Dak. Yeah, yeah.
Prescott has never thrown more than 8 touchdowns to a single receiver in a given
Okay.
season.
All right.
What about you?
I would pick Diggs over. I would. I don't even hesitate.
Really? So you would actually? I'm surprised. I thought you would say Parsons. So you think Diggs is more likely to have more than 5 interceptions, and Parsons is more than likely to have 11 or more sacks? That's interesting.
Well, I picked over on both of them.
Sure, but you're more confident in
I'm
Diggs.
Yes, and I like this is a whole other rabbit hole, whatever. But it's
Sure,
because, like you said,
let's
Lawrence is
climb.
going to get a
Let's
few more
dig.
sick. Yeah, dig, yeah. Diggs is going to dig. But Lawrence is going to be healthy. Right?
Okay.
And so he gets a few more sacks. Williams is going to be a good rusher. Dorrance Armstrong's going to get more. What I mean, hopefully get some more pressure from the inside. Dante Fowler. I just think that maybe a couple get stolen from him. I
So this,
just think nothing stops Diggs from getting interceptions.
so
He's
who do
gonna,
you, who do you think has more sacks? The combination of Dorrance Armstrong and Sam Williams, or DeMarcus Lawrence?
Oh, I'm gonna say the combination.
Okay. Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think that's as easy as it was to say
Right.
maybe a month. Well, I guess a month ago we didn't. Well, a month ago we
So
knew we had Sam Williams, but the closer we get to camp,
if I had to guess on all of them, like if I had to put it in, I'd probably say Armstrong and Lawrence both have between 6 and 10. So let's just say they both have 8.
hmm
And then St. Williams has probably 4 or 5.
okay,
Be my guess.
we'll see. All right,
Well,
let's sign her off there. We'll see y'all next time.
see you guys.